Welcome to Em.Powercoaching. Discover how to reinvent yourself, find self-empowerment, and live a more positive and fulfilling lifestyle. Em.Powercoaching combines mental and physical fitness to help you connect the dots to unveil a more confident, energized, and empowered version of you. So, if you're ready, let's get into today's episode. Hello and welcome back to Em.Powercoaching with me, Emma. So we are currently in the month of February, which I like to call the month of love because it is the month of love. The whole of February is a month that we should really take some time out to think about how much we love ourselves. And no, that's not being said with an egotistic view. That is just because, let's face it, how often do you really take some time out just for yourself to show yourself how much you actually respect, care, and love your body? Probably not often, just at a guess. So if there's ever a month to do it, let's do it in February because, we have Valentine's. It's a good place to start. So we're actually on the episode of part 3 of the self-love podcast. So part 1, we were talking about exercise and how exercise is connected to caring for your body and respecting your body. Part 2, we were talking about nourishing your body and how this has a huge effect on how you are on the inside and really just taking care of your body as a whole. This week is part 3, and we're going to be looking at your well-being, so your mental well-being, your mental health, and how this plays a huge role, especially when it comes to self-love as well. So before I get into the show, if you didn't already hear in the previous 2 episodes, I have just launched a very exciting new project called Embodied. And this is all about expressing your inner confidence and representing you. And there's ways in which you can do that, and it's broken down into 3 areas. And we've got Confident You Beauty, Confident You Perfume, and Confident You Health Supplements. And all 3 of these are just ways that can help you to express your inner confidence and find ways to represent who you are on the outside. So if you want more information on that, you can hop over onto my coaching page on Instagram, which is Em.Powercoaching UK. And I've also launched Embodied Empowered, which you'll also find on Instagram as well. And that's where you'll find all of the main things to do with Embodied. Okay, let's get into today's show. So really want to talk about mental health and how this plays a huge role in your own self-care, your self-love, and just how you see looking after yourself. Now, we're at a time in the world where mental health problems are certainly on the rise. We've been going through this pandemic worldwide, and it's having a huge effect on our mental health. And it's no surprise, is it, when you think about it, because people are losing businesses, people are losing jobs, the lockdown and being stuck in your own home, not being able to see your family, your friends, it's putting pressure on relationships. Parents are having to homeschool, children are without seeing their friends. It's affecting our quality of life. Now, I'm not going to go into my thoughts and opinions on the lockdown and, the C word, which we won't talk about. But I do just want to mention that it is having a big impact on everyone. So if you've been feeling like your own mental health has deteriorated slightly over these past months, year actually now, bloody hell, year. Don't feel, you should never feel bad about your mental health anyway. You should never feel guilty or have negative thoughts around how you are currently in a negative, or if you find yourself in a negative situation. But especially now, there's so many people that are going through this as well. You are not alone. That's kind of the main message there, is that you're not alone in this. I mean, when we look at the statistics, so on how common mental health problems are, one in four people will experience a mental health problem of some kind each year in England alone. That is ridiculous numbers. 1 in 6 people report experience a common mental health problem like anxiety or depression in any given week. And that's in England alone. Not the world, just in England. 1 in 6 people report experiencing a common mental health problem in a week. So, when you look at the figures, it's like, shit, this is such a big thing. And there's lots of different mental health problems that come under that category. So specific diagnoses in any given week in England. So the stats there, we've got mixed anxiety and depression, 8 in 100 people. Generalised anxiety disorder, 6 in 100 people. Post-traumatic stress disorder, 4 in 100 people. Depression, 3 in 100 people. Phobias, 2 in 100 people. Obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, 1 in 100 people. And panic disorder is fewer than 1 in 100. So the highest one there, the highest stat there is mixed anxiety and depression. I mean, it's high numbers and it's scary, it's so scary. They even go further to talk about the suicidal thoughts and self-harm. They're not mental health diagnoses, but they are related to mental health. And over the course of someone's lifetime, 1 in 5 people have suicidal thoughts. It's just so sad. And 1 in 14 people self-harm, and 1 in 15 people attempt suicide. It's just so scary. And it really touches a nerve when I talk about mental health, because I've been to some pretty dark places myself, if we're being open and honest here, which we should be. And so when I talk about it myself and I connect back to the times where I found my own self in very dark places, it definitely brings up some of that emotion that I was experiencing at that time. Now, I've learned over the years, and I've had a lot of help through cognitive behavioural therapy, CBT for short. You might have heard of that a bit more, or even just counselling. I had a lot of help. I'm not afraid to say that. I've had quite a lot of counselling actually in my time, and it's just done wonders for me. And at the end of the day, the main thing there is that I'm just talking to someone, and that's, if I'm going to give you any message today, that I want that to be the biggest thing, is just to talk. Honestly, I don't think there is any better natural medication that I could suggest than just talking to someone, just getting something off your chest, just explaining how you feel, sharing your emotion with someone, sharing your pains and your struggles with someone, and just allowing yourself to be open and honest. It's probably one of the hardest things that you're going to do, but it's one of the most rewarding as well. Not everyone has someone to talk to. Not everyone has that luxury. I mean, you do, in the fact that, you've got things like the Mind charity, you've got the Samaritans. There's so many services out there and charities out there where you can pick up your phone and phone for free, and you can speak to someone right there and then. There's even quite a lot of apps out now. I can't remember the name of the counselling one. Is it called Better Health? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll make a note to include that in the show notes as well. And you can get counselling through your phone. So, if you do struggle to speak to people who are close to you, like your family and your friends, or maybe you just don't have any family or any friends, and you just don't even have that option, then there are options to speak to people through these charities and through these services that are made available. But again, you have to be willing to do that. You have to be willing to take that step to pick up that phone and actually make, that action. And some people can find that very, very difficult and very uncomfortable to do. So with that being said, how can we look at other ways to really look at how we can protect our mental health and how we can really look after our well-being? So I'm going to talk through a few things that have just worked for me. Now, I want you to know that just because they've worked for me and just because I've seen the benefits of these different things doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you. But I'm just putting some ideas out there that you can maybe discover in this podcast, go away and have a go yourself and see if it can be something that works for you. It's always good to give these things a try, especially if you've not done it before. So the first one I'm going to talk about is meditation, because I think that's probably one of the hardest ones that I got my head around. For years, people have been telling me, oh, you should meditate, it's brilliant. It does this, this, and this. And, it's just wonders. Everyone needs to do meditation. And I was like, right, okay, fine. I'll give it a go. I'll sit on the floor and just be silent. But I just didn't really know what the hell to do. If you've never done meditation and you don't really know anything about it, where do you even start? That's where I was at. I was like, what am I doing? So I sat on the floor, crossed my legs, sat up nice and tall, took a deep breath in through my nose. And I just started to make some sounds because that's what I thought at the time I legit was supposed to do. And it wasn't doing anything for me. And then when I realised that, you just need to sit and be present, focus on your breathing. Well, I'd try that, but my God, my head was just here, there and everywhere, racing thoughts. Have I got everything that I need for work tomorrow? Have I written up the report to send off to my regional manager? Have the team be instructed on what needs to be done later on today? Who's covering that shift next week? Have I meal prepped? Am I going to watch that? Whatever it was, the thoughts that were going through my head, they just came flooding in. And I found it really difficult to actually be able to control my thoughts and to just sort of, not think or worry about something that's either happened or is going to happen. And that's what you're supposed to do with meditation. It's all about being present and in the moment there and then, and not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future. But I really struggled with it. So then I was introduced to an app called Headspace, which has been amazing. They basically do guided meditation, or they give you the option to do guided meditation on this little app on your phone. And I think they've got like a 30-day free trial. Again, I'm not 100% sure on that one. But if I post a link on my show notes to the Headspace app, then you can check it out and see what's going on there. But I definitely recommend giving it a go if you're someone who does struggle with the idea of meditation. Lots and lots of resources on there to actually talk and guide you through. So, the person who is speaking to you, they'll sort of direct you on how to get yourself comfortable and set up, and then, they'll go into the talk and they'll basically instruct you on what to do with your body, what to do with your breathing, and just guide you through it until you get to a point over a while of doing it that you don't need that guidance anymore and you know what to do and you're comfortable doing it yourself. For me, I'm probably just going to end up having it guided forever. But that's what works for me. It's fine. They've also just they've just added a series on Netflix. I think it's still there. So they've actually got guided or introduction to meditation. It's a series on Netflix. So I gave that a watch, and that was really good because it actually explains what meditation is. It goes into the history of it. And then the guy at the end will guide you through around 5 to 10 minutes of meditation at the end. And that's just on Netflix. Talk about Netflix and chill. It's right there. So definitely go check that out. So another thing that really works for me is to take time out from media. Now, this is tough because my business is all pretty much at the minute on social media. Okay, it's all digital at the minute. I've got online courses, I've got online PT, I've got online memberships, I've got my social pages to look after, I'm doing my podcasts and uploading them. So everything I do at the minute is digital day in and day out. So it is very difficult just to say, right, I'm going to have a week off or a few days off from media entirely. That's a little bit too difficult for me, and it's not something that I can personally do. However, I can definitely be a little bit more mindful to how much time I'm spending. And so in an evening, maybe I'll put my phone away an hour before I go to bed, and I just have that cut-off point where I don't look at anything media-wise, social media, anything digital, and take myself away from the screen and the scrolling. And the same in the morning, when I wake up in the morning, I definitely used to be one of these where I'd lie in bed and half an hour would be gone because I've just been scrolling through my Instagram. That to me is now time wasted, really, unless I'm going to do emails and respond to people, but I prefer to do that later in the day anyway. So now I just make my coffee, I go down, I sit with the rabbit and, we just chill for a good half an hour until I've woken up, and then I get into it. So it's that time out for media. So wherever you can find that point in your day, if you feel like you're someone who is also always constantly on social media, scrolling through, comparing your life to other people's lives, for example, already that's such an unhealthy way to view your own life. And if you can find some time just to try and cut that down, trust me, you will 100% see the benefits in that, like within a week. That's how quickly we're talking. If you can just whittle that time down as much as you can. Like I say, everyone's different. People have got different commitments. So if I'm going to take time out from media, I'm not going to just sit and stare at a wall. As we've discussed, I struggle with things like meditation and just being in my own head. So I like to do things like read. I'm a massive Dan Brown fan. I don't know, you probably will have heard of his films if you've not heard of his books. So, for example, The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons. Absolutely love those books. So I would always go and pick up one of those books and have a read. I'm currently reading a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, which I'm actually going to do a podcast on, so I won't go too much into that. I'll save the juicy stuff for then. But yeah, reading, if you can find something, that is with regards to like something that you're passionate about or something that you're just really interested in, something that grabs your attention, reading is brilliant. Another thing that you can do is colouring in and art, so adult art. This has been shown or proven to show really, really amazing effects with regards to reducing anxiety in adults. So you might have seen them where probably if you've got children anyway, you'll have definitely seen them where you can get colouring books. And then you'll just colour in the shapes, usually geometric shapes of animals or nature, whatever it is. And you just fill in the little blocks until you've basically filled out the picture. And sometimes they'll have numbers in, so number 1's reds and number 2's blues. You know what I'm on about. So that's been proven to be really, really awesome. I've not done that. I've given it a go before, and I do agree that it works. But I'm just not very arty, to be honest. If you've ever seen any of my drawings, you'll understand why I stay well away from anything art-wise. But if you are someone who is into the art and could potentially enjoy that, then I definitely recommend it. Something that I've done recently that has completely shocked me, so kind of just as a boredom filler / joke, I requested for Christmas that as a gift that I got a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle. So yeah, totally random, I know. So I got given a jigsaw puzzle of my bunny rabbit Mufasa. By the way, if you're not following him on Instagram yet, you need to go follow him because he's a little dude. So his name on Instagram is Mufasa the Lionhead. and he's such a dude. You'll totally know what I mean when you go and see him, but definitely go give him a follow, show him some support. Anyway, so I got this jigsaw puzzle of Mufasa's face. Awesome. Now, it was just a kind of jokey thing, something to pass the time, but I surprised myself at just how much I enjoyed doing this jigsaw puzzle. Right, I'm I admit it, I freaking love it. I'm obsessed with it. In fact, I think I've got a weird addiction to it. I don't know what it is. But either way, I'll think that I'll want to do maybe 10 minutes, I'll just have a little play on the jigsaw puzzle. Next thing I know, it's been a whole hour, right, of my life gone on this jigsaw puzzle. And I'm like, what? Where the hell has time gone? And it's gone on the jigsaw puzzle. And you know what? If you asked me what I'd been thinking about the whole time of doing the jigsaw puzzle, I would not be able to tell you. That's how much focus is required and how deep, well, at least how deep I got into it anyway. You might be different, but it really took my attention and focus away. And for that whole hour, it just meant I wasn't worrying about anything. I wasn't anxious about anything. I wasn't getting upset or depressed or stressed about anything. My focus and my attention was there in that puzzle. Nothing else going on around me. I could have been anywhere. There could have been shit going on around me. I wouldn't have known, okay, because I was just so deep into that puzzle. So yeah, jigsaw puzzles. If you've not tried it, go and try it before you judge me on that. Go get yourself a jigsaw puzzle and make sure it's a hard one as well, like, when I'm not talking about these 10 pieces ones. So another thing that has over the years consistently shown benefits for your mental health is yoga. Something that I've only just started doing recently. I've been doing some live classes on Instagram, actually, because at the minute we're not able to go to classes, so the gyms are still closed. So I'm not actually able to go to a class. So doing the lives on Facebook, I kind of feel like I am, and it means that I'm scheduling it into my day as well, so I'm more likely to do it. But they're just lives, but there is someone that I can recommend on YouTube called Adrienne. Is it Adriana or is it Adrienne? I can't quite remember. I'm really bad at remembering today, aren't I? Sorry, guys. But yes, so she's on YouTube. If you're searching Adriana or Adrienne yoga, I'm sure she'll come up. And I think she's got a program out at the minute, 30-day yoga program called Breathe. So, yoga very much focuses on your breath work, controlling your body, bringing everything back to you, and your focus and your attention back to your breathing. And I think I actually mentioned it in the part 1 of the self-love series, where we were talking about exercise and how the breath and how breathing has a huge impact on your emotional states. So it all just kind of like ties in together. But I definitely recommend Adrienne, just because she's so laid back. She messes up just like me. She keeps it real. But you can have a laugh with it, as well as learning the ins and outs of yoga. And also she's great for beginners. So, I mean, my first experience of yoga was I went to a yoga class, and it was one of the hardest classes I've ever done in my life, and I've done a few. Honestly, it was just the poor choice. Adriana works with beginners, so you're good, especially if you're doing that 30-day program, because she will start you off at day 1 as a beginner, and then, you'll work your way through. So there we go. That's one for you to check out. Another one is walking. So getting out in the fresh air, and really it's not just about the fresh air either. It's just being out in nature, being in the greens and the blue skies. The blue sky, limited at this time of year, granted, but again, it's been shown, just looking at a blue sky has been shown to have really positive effects on your well-being and your mental health. So I don't know if there's a way to replicate that. Maybe paint your ceilings blue. I don't know if that works. Maybe that's something that you can Google and check out. But if you can get out and walk, go and do that. Walking's great. It has the same benefits of other types of exercises where you're releasing your endorphins, you're getting your cardiovascular system, raring up. And it also, because it's so low impact and it's something that you don't really have to focus on, you can just do it. It allows you then just to let thoughts come and go as you go on a walk. What I would recommend doing, if you are going to use walking as a way to take some time out, try and do it without listening to a podcast or music or learning or taking in any form of information. Just try and just walk. If you're walking with a friend, even better. Have a natter, have a chat. But if you're going on your own, try and just walk. Try not to have the music and stuff. It's going to feel really uncomfortable to begin with, but it allows your thoughts to come and go at a natural pace. And that's where you need to be. You need to be able to allow that to happen, but you can't do that if you've got things like informative podcasts and things like that going on. So then, of course, the next one is just talking. Like I said at the start, just talking to someone, sharing your problems, sharing your concerns, letting someone know how you're feeling. There's so much power in that. And if you don't feel comfortable speaking to people who you know, or if you just don't have the option to speak to anyone, then there are the helplines as well, and the charities, Samaritans, Mind, all of that. I'll leave those links on the page as well so that you've got access to that and you can see how to access those. But again, even if you maybe want to think about some counselling or CBT, highly recommend that as well. Any way that you can, just to talk and to share what it is that you're going through and speak to someone, because you never know, your best friend who you're too scared to speak to about it may be going through the same thing, and you can talk and you can discuss it and you can find ways to try and resolve it together. And then again, you're learning that you're not alone, which you're not. You never are. There's a lot of us going through some shit at all times throughout our lives, so you're never alone. But you'll never really fully know that until you start opening up and speaking to people. So there we go. There's a couple of ways that you can start to really think about how you can look after your well-being, and the importance of looking after your well-being as well. So just a couple of things to go away there with. If you do try any of these tips, is it tips? I don't think that's the right word, but strategies. If you do have a go at any of these and you're completely new to them, let me know how you got on. I'm always interested to know. Especially on the meditation one. If you give it a go and you manage to rock it, give me some tips, help a girl out, because I struggle with that one. Or if again, you find that meditation is really difficult, come and share your story with me. I want to know. The puzzle one, if you go and buy a puzzle, definitely let me know about that. Just so that I know and can have some reassurance that it's not just me. But either way, let's not judge. Love a jigsaw puzzle. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you again so much for tuning in with me. This has been part 3 of the self-love series. So if you've only just tuned into this episode, definitely recommend hopping back for another 2 and checking out part 1, which is all about how to use exercise for self-care and self-love. And then part 2 is all about nourishing your body. So we're looking at like nutrition and things like getting your vitamins and your minerals and all that kind of thing. But yeah, so go and check that out. Come over and say hi to me on Instagram. I always love to speak to people and hear your thoughts and opinions about the podcast as well. So that's Em.Powercoaching UK. Again, with the launch of Embodied, I now have a page specifically for that, and that is at Embodied Empowered. All of these links will be in the show notes as well, so you can just click away and come and have a look. And if you've got any questions or any ideas as well for topics that you would like to hear on this podcast, then drop me an email at Em.Powercoaching UK. No, that's not right. Em.Powercoaching team@gmail.com. Why am I struggling so much to think of that off the top of my head? I'm pretty sure it's that. Em.Powercoaching@gmail.com. Drop me a message on an email and let me know if you've got any ideas of things that you would like me to talk about in the upcoming podcasts as well, because at the end of the day, this podcast is for you guys. So if there's something you want to hear, let me know and I will see what I can do within reason. All right, so thank you very much again. Sharing this podcast, it goes a long way for me. It really does. Leaving reviews as well. Anything that you can do to get the word out of this podcast and to share it with people who can resonate and can learn something from it as well. You're not just helping me, but you could be helping someone else. So it really does mean a lot. Thank you for tuning in and for sitting with me for this half an hour. And I will see you again next week for another episode of Em.Power Coaching with me, Emma. Have a great day and I'll see you next week. Bye.